Hello folks, this is Sula once again. Welcome to another commentary video for Teamfight Tactics. This is taken from a normal game, and in this game we're going to be looking at a setup that's become more popular in this most recent patch, and that being an Assassins-based team comp. Assassin team comps have been one of the stronger setups on the ladder, and I typically don't play a lot of Assassin-based team comps, but this is a team comp that I kind of ended up running in this particular game. It wasn't what I was planning to play going into the game, but things shook out that way, and so this will be a chance for me to go through and demonstrate a different looking team composition than something that I often end up playing. We're going to end up focusing on Katarina in this particular game. There's a number of different ways you can run an assassin setup. LeBlanc can be the featured unit. Nocturne can also be the featured unit, but in this particular game, it's going to end up being Katarina. I had taken a Gragas with a tier off the initial carousel, thinking that I might play like a reroll brand comp or something along those lines, but I get a Katarina drop from the initial minion round, and I was like, okay, I've got a tier, I've got this initial Katarina. Why don't we look to play through the Katarina since this is dropped so early? And I even get a Kha'Zix here on the initial minion round that I can try to pair that with. So Katarina as a unit is an assassin. She's going to jump into the backline at the start of combat and then dance around tossing daggers at people. I'll go through what her ability does in more detail in a minute or so. So yep, she blinks around tossing her daggers. You can see this. Does a lot of damage. Her positioning, with assassins, you always have to be careful about positioning. So that's going to be one of the things that's important in this video. I'm also going to look to build through the Coven trait, which is another trait that don't think I've featured over much in these videos so much. So try to have a chance to demonstrate that as well. At the moment, I'm looking at these initial minion rounds, these initial minion drops, and trying to figure out what exactly I'm going to be playing as far as frontline in particular. So I'm going to go ahead and sell off the units that I don't think I'm going to run. The Kled is, of course, not very important in this team composition at all. The Kled is just there to put something up on the front lines. And then I get another Katarina here. As far as what drops, and I was like, oh man, another Katarina? Okay, well, that sounds pretty good. So now we already have 2 out of 3 Katarinas, and if I can get one more, I can have I have good odds of getting an early 2-star cat, which would be really nice here. So again, I'm just looking to try to figure out what else I can toss in here. I get the Warwick drop, and I was like, maybe, if I can find one other forgotten unit, then I can be in position to run a Forgotten Trait, which will give a little bit of extra damage to Katarina. And I also see some Lysandras drop, so I'm going to grab them, and I'm going to grab them because the Lysandras will be needed for Coven if I'm going to run that trait, which is what I'm planning on doing. So I actually got quite a bit of gold here early on. I went ahead and leveled to level 4. I maybe could have even gotten to 10 gold by not leveling up to level 4 ahead of time, by preserving that money. So even though I got a lot of gold drops, I'm not quite going to be able to hit the 10 gold breakpoint. And the big reason for that is because I have 2 Katarinas in play, and that's 6 gold, which is an awful lot at this stage of the game. But I'm pretty happy with what's dropped thus far. I'm just hoping that I can find an early Morgana at some point and then try to get Coven into play. All right, so here, as far as items go, I've got the chance to pick up a Brawler's Glove, and that sounds good to me because I'm going to need items that build out of critical strike stuff. If you're running Assassins, Brawler's Gloves are one of the key items that you're going to need to run because they provide additional critical strike chance, and Assassins is a trait that's all about critically striking the opponent. The Assassin trait itself, it's worthwhile to mention this, it hasn't really changed much in set 5. It's pretty much the same as in previous ones. Assassin trait means that the abilities of assassins can critically strike. You don't need a jeweled gauntlets. Assassins can critically strike with their abilities. And they also get extra critical strike chance and extra critical strike damage. So their abilities can crit, and then they get more crit chance and higher damage when they do crit. The key damage item that you typically want on Assassins is Infinity Edge because it just means that the crits do even more damage. And since I've gotten that early glove, I'm just hoping that I'll get a BF sword and I'll be able to pair with that so that I can pick up, the extra damage. It makes a huge difference if you can get Infinity Edge on your assassins or not. So that's what I'm hoping to find. Just need to get a sword at some point. I also need to get another tier so I can get blue buff on Katarina. Her core items are blue buff, and then Infinity Edge, and then usually Guardian Angel, so that she has a chance to come back to life again after she gets popped one time. Assassins, as you would expect, do a lot of damage, but they also tend to be very fragile units. So they can dish out a hit, but they can't take a hit, if that makes sense. All right, as far as what's else been going on, I just tossed in the random set because I had Warwick in there, and as with set, I'm able to make two brawlers. I have all one-star units, so I don't feel like my setup is particularly strong at the moment. I really need to get, like I said, another tier for Cat, or a sword for Infinity Edge, or something along those lines. And I'm still looking for more of the Coven units. I haven't seen a LeBlanc yet. I haven't seen any other assassins yet. I haven't seen Morgana yet. So I'm looking to play Coven, and then I'm also looking to get more assassins in play because there's a big jump to go from four assassins or two assassins up to four assassins. The critical strike damage almost doubles. I think it goes from, I've got the numbers here in front of me. I believe in this current patch, the critical strike damage goes from 25% extra crit damage to 55% extra crit damage. And the crit chance goes from plus 10% to plus 30%. So it's a big jump to go from two assassins to four assassins. All right, well, I lost the last two rounds, which wasn't really that bad because they were relatively close losses. And then I had the opportunity to get this tier. I was honestly shocked that a tier on a brand was not instantly snapped up. In this current patch, brand reroll is super popular, trying to three-star brand. So a brand with a tier, which is like brand's core item, is super duper popular. So I'm going to take that. This will make blue buff on Katarina. Cat's mana cost is 20, so having a blue buff is just perfect for her. She'll just be able to just about permacast with her ability. So we'll go ahead and toss that on the Katarina. And I'll also toss the glove on her for extra critical strike chance. And I'm thinking, I can get a sword at some point over the course of this game. I mean, it's still really early. It's just stage 2. So I'm sure that I'm going to get a sword at some point to be able to toss on her. I see a Victor in the store, and I toss Victor in to get Forgotten Trait that's going to give Katarina and Warwick, and I guess Victor as well, additional attack damage and additional ability power. Forgotten is an offensive trait. Everyone who has the Forgotten Trait basically gets extra damage via attack damage and ability power. So that's the most useful thing I can look to put in here. So here's a fight where the assassin setup goes perfectly. This comp is a Vayne-based comp, at least at the moment, and the whole thing is based on Vayne killing everything. But we just dive right past the front line, and Katarina immediately assassinates the Vayne, so that comp just gets popped instantly, and that ended up being a really bad matchup for that other player. So we win pretty easily in that one, and that's kind of the way it's supposed to go with assassins. Here, I'm able to find a Morgana, and that's great. Now I just need to find a LeBlanc, and I'll be able to run Coven. I would drop the Warwick and the set, who are not really doing anything all that important in this comp, in order to get Coven in play. But we'll talk more about Coven when and if I'm actually able to find that. I want to take a minute here to highlight how Katarina's ability works, because she's the featured champion in this particular video. So Kat is Forgotten an Assassin. I mentioned her ability is 20 mana, so she can cast pretty frequently. I'll read the official description of her ability. Katarina throws a dagger at the farthest enemy, deals magic damage. When the dagger lands near the target, Katarina teleports to it, immediately launches 3 additional daggers at the nearest enemies that deal magic damage. Enemies hit have incoming healing reduced by 50% for the next 6 seconds. So her ability is a healing debuff. But basically what she does is she tosses the dagger, then she blinks to the dagger, and when she lands, she tosses out additional daggers at nearby targets. And as I said, it's a healing debuff. Now, I actually thought that I was probably going to lose this round, but it turns out that I actually do pretty well against this Hellions comp because Katarina just keeps popping them over and over and over again. And that was actually pretty nice because that person hadn't lost yet in the lobby. So we're able to end their win streak. They are not able to carry their win streak through into the minion round. And I'm able to carry a modest win streak of 2 into the minion round. So that's nice. Then I get a big shop hit here. I'm able to hit 2-star Kha'Zix. I find 2-star LeBlanc, although I won't play LeBlanc unless... Not LeBlanc, Lissandra. I'm not going to play Lissandra unless I can find LeBlanc. Their names are a bit too similar. And then I find other stuff on my bench that pairs units. Like I have a pair of sets, I have a pair of Victors. Set and Victor are not terribly important in this team composition. But, I might as well hold them. It doesn't really cost me much to hold them. I think it probably cost me like 1 gold and extra income to hold them. But I might as well hold on to them because why not at this point? Now, what isn't so great is the item drops there. That was not what I was looking for. A bow and... and a belt were definitely not the items. I was looking for a sword. I didn't get it, so that's a little bit disappointing. I suppose the belt is half of a Morello's, which can go on Morgana eventually, but these other items are not great. Bows in particular are not especially good in this comp. The one thing I can do is I can turn these 2 items into a Hurricane, which is a good item on Nocturne. And it might seem bizarre. I'm going to put this on the Victor just because he's going to get sold for sure. and get replaced with other units later. So that's why I'm putting this attack damage item on Victor, who's a spellcaster. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's just so I can use these items, not have them sitting uselessly on my bench, get some kind of value out of them. And as soon as I find Nocturne, I'll look to sell the Victor and replace him with Nocturne. By the way, this player is already down at 58 health, so I'm not exactly sure what this player is doing. Noah Jade. I guess they really want to push economy and roll for one cost units, maybe. But that's a lot. Like that's it's okay to take some damage in the early game, but when you've taken 40 plus damage on stage 3-1, that's an awful lot of damage. Okay, now here once again I get another shop that's not what I'm looking for. I get a choice between another bow, which as I've mentioned is not very good for this comp, or alternately I also get the another glove. And I was like, all right, well, again, I'm playing Assassins. I'll take the glove. This maybe is more gloves than I strictly want, but I'll go ahead and run that for the time being. So here I'm able to get Coven in play because I find the LeBlanc. I'm actually at 3 Assassins right now, which is kind of weird, and I don't particularly want that, but it is what it is for right now. And then I opt, since I see that there is a Thresh in the store, if I'm going to play Forgotten, I'd rather have Thresh as the extra Forgotten unit. So I'll look to go ahead and make that change, and then I can actually free up some money on the bench right now by selling some of these units I don't want, like the Victor and the set. I think I get around to doing that eventually. All right, so now we have Coven trait in play, and so it's worthwhile to discuss what Coven trait does. This fight, by the way, going very poorly because Cat unable to get through the shields over there on the enemy team. And like I said, my comp is not tanky. My comp does a lot of damage, but also is very frail, which is kind of how assassins work. So Coven trait, let's highlight this. Coven, you need 3 units to put Coven in play. They are Lissandra, LeBlanc, and Morgana. They're the only 3 Coven units. At the start of the combat, the champion nearest to the center of your Coven champions is chosen as the Coven leader. They gain 60% bonus ability power, and each time a Coven champion casts, 15% of the cost is bestowed upon the Coven leader as mana. So the Coven leader gets extra ability power, and when other Coven units cast, then they get some mana back, which means that they can use their ability more often. All right, well, we get a big shop here. We get the 2-star cat, and then we're able to find the Nocturne. So that gets us up to 4 Assassins. And as mentioned, 4 Assassins is a big boost for this particular team comp. Now, one of the awkward things about Coven is positioning. I need Katarina to be the Coven leader, and it's like I actually want her to be positioned on the side because I think Kat is better positioned to the side, generally speaking, than in the center. But like I'm having trouble getting her to be the Coven leader, which is what I want. So, and I'm particularly hesitant to like reposition at the last minute because if Kat is not the Coven leader, then it ends up being a disaster for me. So that's not too good. This is another fight where the Assassin RNG works perfectly, though. This comp wants to play through the Vel'Koz. Kat just blinks instantly onto the Vel'Koz and deletes him, and then once that happens, it's a pretty easy victory for us. Like I said, hitting the 2-star Cat and hitting the 4 Assassins is a big increase in damage for us. I go ahead and sell the Thresh. I actually should have sold the 2 Warwicks because if I'm going to play Forgotten, I'm more likely to play Thresh than Warwick. But getting to 40 gold is definitely the right play here. I'm not going to be putting Forgotten in anytime soon. It's going to take a while to hit that. Unfortunately, I get a terrible carousel here. There's no sword on the carousel. There's no sword at all. I was like, oh, because I actually have pretty decent priority on the carousel. I get 3rd pick. There were pretty good odds that I could get a sword off this carousel, but no, there's no sword. I was like, oh, that's really disappointing because I really want a sword for Katarina to make Infinity Edge, and then I'd really want another sword to try and make Guardian Angel, but no, there's no opportunity to do that. So, well, the only thing that I thought I could do was to try and make the Morellos on Morgana because it's one of her key items. So I'll go ahead and do that. It makes her slightly tankier. But, I really want a Guardian Angel for Morgana as well because she's kind of the only frontline in this comp that I'm running right now. I do notice that Diana's is sitting there on the shop. And so I was like, all right, well, I'll definitely pick this up. That maintains the 4 Assassins, puts Nightbringer in for the Morgana. So it gives her at least a small shield that'll hopefully keep her alive a little bit longer. And I'll hold on to the Kha'Zix for right now because there is the possibility of going up to 6 Assassins. 6 Assassins can be a little bit tricky as you see me up against another Assassin comp right here. 6 Assassins can be a little bit tricky because there's not necessarily 6 good Assassins that you want to play. However, it can be something that can be useful if you can find like an assassin spatula. Like a spatula would be fantastic to get right now. By the way, this person has 0 gold, so they're in a lot of trouble right now. Tamales de Polo, they have 0 gold, so unless they hit on whatever they're rolling for, I guess they're rolling for 3-star Vlad. they're in a lot of trouble. So yeah, you see, if you go up to 6 assassins, it increases the crit chance from 50% to from 30% to 50%, and then the damage goes from 50% up to 90%. So it is quite a bit more damage and more crit chance. But you have to play so many assassins, it really does cause issues to go up that high. Like I said, there's not necessarily 6 good assassins that you would want to play. So, for instance, if I could find Viego, that would be awesome. But I'm probably not going to find Viego early on here. Anyway, we'll see what we hit and go from there. But ideally, I would get like a spatula, and then I could make like Morgana into an assassin, and then I would play 6 assassins if I could do that. But you can't really count on finding an assassin, a spatula to make assassin spat. All right, so we're up against an Abomination team comp, and that's not really what I want. Note that in this particular fight, 2 things bad happen. Katarina jumps over to the Gragas, who is not the person I want her hitting. And in addition to that, Gragas has a Sunfire Cape, so he interrupts the healing that some of my units are able to get. So that fight's reasonably close, but we do end up losing it, and it's a bit of a shame right there. Part of the priority, that's kind of why positioning is really important when it comes to assassins, is you really need them to dive on the carries of the other team. By the way, nice bit of luck here. I just natural 2 Nocturnes right there, and all of a sudden I've gone from no Nocturnes up to 2-star Nocturne, just like that. So we're going to get closer here to level 7, and for this particular team composition, which is based on Katarina, you want to slow roll for 3-star at level 7, and then you got to cross your fingers and hope that you are able to hit. So going to do something a little bit different. We'll go to level 7 here, but then at level 7, we're just going to slow roll to try to find 3-star Katarina and 3-star Nocturne if we can, whatever we hit, but Katarina is the preferred unit because she is the focus of this comp. Now, unfortunately, you might notice that I didn't get any swords again. I got another glove, which is like, okay, another glove. I guess that's okay. But no additional swords. So I can't make the guardian. I can't make a guardian angel. I did get a chain vest, which is half of a guardian angel, but I need swords, and I really need 2 of them. So now I have 3 brawler's gloves. I've got 1 I've already committed to Cat, 2 on the bench. I was thinking, what in the world do I do with all these? You do want brawler's glove for this comp, but like you need to get other items to complement them. I can't really do that much with this many brawler's gloves in this particular team comp. So a little bit unfortunate right there. The fact that no swords have dropped is starting to get a little concerning because I need swords for Guardian Angel and I need swords for Infinity Edge. And if I'm not getting them, well, that's that's not good. These are pretty important items for this team composition. I'm just going to have to look to make the best I can if I can't find one. Fortunately, we have an armory coming up. It doesn't matter. I can make use of a shadow sword, shadow BF sword, or a normal BF sword. Normal is probably a little bit worse than the shadow sword, but I can use either at this point. I just need one of those 2. So what do we get? And again, no swords. What the heck? What in the world is going on here? So I was like, all right, well, at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and make the Shadow Hand of Justice for Katarina. I think that that's the best way I can make use of this. There is still a chance to get another sword, but now I have to start thinking, if I only get 1 sword, do I want to make Infinity Edge, or do I want to look to make the a Guardian Angel? Because they're both, again, really important items for this team composition. Just the lack of swords is killing me in this setup. I go ahead and I decide at this point, if I get a sword, I'm going to make Guardian Angel on Morg. I actually think that's more important than a Guardian Angel on Katarina, even though both are nice. The big thing is Morgana needs to get her ult off, and Guardian Angel makes sure that she gets her ult off. If she doesn't get her ult off, then we don't really have any crowd control for this team comp. And like she's the only unit up on the front line, so it's really important that she get her ult off. Like watching this fight, she's going to try to get her ult off, but she just dies too fast. And if she had Guardian Angel, then she would have gotten their ult off and stunned like half the enemy team. So this fight actually goes really, really badly for me. I think the cat got popped right at the start of the fight. And you're seeing the fact that I don't have like that Guardian Angel on either of those 2 units. They're very fragile, and if they don't manage to get that protection, they can just get popped at the start of the fight, and suddenly I take 15 damage, and it's not looking so hot. But there's still another carousel here, and, you know, surely this carousel will have a sword on it, right? We can't have yet another carousel with no swords on it, surely. Anyway, so again, you're seeing me slow roll here. I'm just going to slow roll and look for more Katarinas and look for more Nocturnes. Again, this is kind of the way the comp works. I will pick up the extra LeBlanc, and then I'll stop here. I want to stay over 10 gold, or over 50 gold, so I get the max interest each round to roll with. So that's kind of the basic idea there. And at this point, I'm getting tired of the chat So I'm just going to mute everybody else in the lobby. There was some kind of a conversation, but then people kept pinging and it was just getting annoying. One nice thing about Teamfight Tactics is if people are being obnoxious, just mute all, and all of a sudden you don't have to worry about anything after that. All right, here Katarina gets knocked very low at the start of the fight. And again, without Kat, I really don't have much in the way of damage. So these last couple fights have not gone very well at all. And I just took a ton of damage these last two fights. I guess the only good thing you can say is I do get faster priority on the carousel. So I'll be able to pick a little bit sooner here. But my team comp, unfortunately, has been losing out on some of these rounds. And I think a big part is the fact that Morgana is not 2-star, and she's just getting run over before she can get her ult off in these fights. All right, so I get second pick off this carousel. Let's show me a sword here. I was like, oh, there's a sword on Ivern. Cool. I'll go ahead and just grab that Ivern right here, and we'll look to play through that. And wait a minute, Amelia Watson, what are you doing? And yeah, that person took the sword. So again, WTF, why is it impossible to get a sword in this game? There's actually only one more point in time where I even can get a sword, and that will be on the minion round at the end of stage 4. So I'm getting trolled pretty hard by the items here. Ultimately, I decide that I'm going to grab the Volibear, and the reason for that is Volibear will make Revenant for my team composition. I'm going to just decide to take out the Lux, drop Mystic 2, which isn't really that great. But putting in the Volibear, number one, gives me a little bit more frontline, and number two, it puts Revenant trait in play. And that's a big deal because that really helps Nocturne in particular. It gives him a little mini Guardian Angel. Now, he only comes back to life with 10% of his health. However, it does mean he still comes back to life. Gives him a chance to drop aggression from other units. So again, I'm still looking to slow roll here. Still looking to try to get one of these units. I'm not having a ton of success thus far. I only have 5 Katarinas. But then I get a really weird hit. I actually find another Volibear. I was like, what? See, normally you would look to put in Ivern to get Revenant 2 in play. Normally that's kind of the way that this works, is if you want to get Revenant in play, you play Ivern, Ivern puts in Revenant, and also puts in Renewer, although that's not very significant because Renewer just goes on the Lysandra, who's not a key unit in this team composition. We're up against a 3-star Vlad, by the way. This is that person who rolled down to 0 gold and I guess hit the 3-star Vlad, but doesn't feel like their comp is all that strong, honestly. They have a decent amount of health because they've been working with the 3-star Vlad, but it doesn't feel like this comp is that strong to me. So normally you play Ivern, but we've hit the Volibear. We got one off Carousel, then we get another one at 1% odds. I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm playing the Volibear for Revenant instead. And so here I'm going to find a Nocturne, and then I do find another Katarina. I was like, okay, looking a little bit better. Now, since I found the Volibear, I'm probably going to play Ivern at level 8, which means I'm unlikely to go up to 6 Assassins in this game. And I think at some point right around now, yep, I dropped the Kha'Zix because that gets me back to 50 gold. And I'm just thinking I'm probably not ever going to run 6 Assassins in this game. I would need a spatula to pop out, and I'm not really anticipating that happening at this stage of the game. Wooly does help me out a fair bit. He just gives me a little bit more frontline, and of course he allows Nocturne to come back to life once. Not even if it's not on a ton of life, he does come back to life once. And like these ults, like see, he does survive long enough to get his ult off, and that's pretty big because it just means more time for Cat to blink around killing things. Unfortunately, this Abomination is a little bit too tall of a task to get through. Again, big tanky units not your friend when you're running this team competition. If I had an Infinity Edge, Cat probably would do enough damage that she could cut through some of these units. But with just the Shadow Hand of Justice, her damage is a lot lower. This is not a best-in-slot item by any means. So once again, I'm just really hoping that I will get a sword to drop from this minion round. Surely I can't go the entire game with no swords dropping in this team composition, which really needs these to drop, right? I'm definitely going to get at least one sword the entire game, aren't I? Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what we get here. But I would not say that I'm doing that well in that regard here in this game. Once again, I'm continuing to slow roll here, slow rolling, trying to hit 3 stars. I have the best odds to find 3 cost units at level 7. If you want 2 cost units, you currently roll at level 6. If you want 3 cost, you roll at level 7. And we got a belt. Womp womp. Okay, well, now I have to make do with items that just are not very good. So you're going to see me trying to just work with what I've got here. So I do manage to find another Nocturne. I'm at 6 Nocturnes and 6 Katarinas, and I finally hit 2-star Morgana. So now I have to start making use of the items I have. And I was like, I could make a Thief's Glove, or alternately I could try to put like a Trap Claw on Katarina, or I could make a Warmogs here. Ultimately, I decided that I would go ahead, make Warmogs on I would make Warmugs on the Volibear. This should ensure he always gets his ult off. I'm going to make the Shroud of Stillness on the Morgana, which is a weird choice, but whatever. It works out. And then I'm going to hold an item slot deliberately open on Katarina with the hope that I can get a useful item for her in that third slot off the carousel. By the way, Diana, clutch ult right there, popping the Vel'Koz right when he was ulting. So that's why I deliberately leave the slot open. I'm still hoping I can get another good item on Katarina off the carousel. Because from this point on, you get completed items, not components. And that's the hope here. I'm just trying to make the best use of the items I could. I also could have made some trap claws. I could have made double trap claws. Like I could have put trap claw on Katarina and then put a trap claw on like Volibear. But I liked having the Warmogs on Volibear. I liked having the Shroud on Morgana. And I figured that even though trap claw wouldn't be bad on the Katarina here, it would protect her from one negative spellcast. I just preferred having that slot open so I can get another completed item on her. You might again notice I haven't been repositioning that much. Again, part of that is due to the difficulty of repositioning Coven. I need the Coven to be on Katarina. We actually had one of our Friday morning normal games where the group of us are playing, where Grillo was playing a Coven team composition, and we were down to like the very last round of the game, and he actually ended up losing it because he accidentally made Ivern the Coven leader. Whoops. So that can happen, and I don't want to lose a round just because, like I said, I have the Coven going to the wrong person. So that's why I've been hesitant to reposition too much in these particular fights. So that's one of the reasons why I've largely been keeping my formation intact. But in theory, I really do need the assassins to focus better. Positioning is super duper important with assassin team comps. And I really should be scouting the other team compositions more and trying to get my assassins hitting the carries. Now I'm up to 8 Nocturnes, which is nice. I'm still only on 3 Katarinas, though, or 6 Katarinas. I do get a 7th one there. But you might notice my health is starting to get low. And the big issue there is other people are either getting low on health. They've either gone to level 8 or they've rolled all the way down. So I'm going to need to roll it down soon and just invest, not slow roll, just like start pushing to get 3 stars, because if I don't get my 3-star unit soon, then I'm just going to be knocked out of the game, since like I said, I'm on 36 health and some of these other comps are accelerating past me right now. Again, Morgana, once again, unable to get her ult off. Really, really would be nice if she could get her ult off in some of these fights. Unfortunately, we're up against a Mordekaiser here, and that's not what we want. This is kind of a bad matchup for us. And I'm actually going to get knocked down to 20 health. So as you can see, at this point, I was like, all right, after this carousel, I just got to send it. I've got to roll down until I hit 3-star cat. Even if it costs me the rest of my economy, I have to do it at this point because otherwise I'm going to be out of the game. It's been the right decision to slow roll this far, but similarly now I have to go ahead and send it. And then, I do have a choice here. I can get a Guardian Angel or I can get a Shadow Infinity Edge. Both are super clutch items. I really need both of them, but I can only get one. And I opt to go for the Guardian Angel. Yeah, I decided that even though that Shadow Infinity Edge would be just perfect for Katarina, I want the GA on Morgana because she is not getting her ult off in these fights. And if I can put GA on her, she's going to get her ult off. And I think that that's actually more important than more damage on the Katarina. More damage on Cat is really important, but I actually have 8 Nocturnes right now. Nocturne can kind of carry a lot of the damage load if I can get him to 3 stars, but no one other than Morgana can provide frontline for me. And there I finally find Ivern. I found 2 Volibears before I found 1 Ivern. Go figure. Then there's another Ivern. I was like, all right, well, I'd rather have 2-star Ivern than 2-star LeBlanc. And then I find another Katarina. I was like, all right, well, I got to sell something. I'll sell that. Probably should have sold the Ivern there. And finally, we get the 3-star Katarina. That's probably roughly about the amount that you would expect to have to roll to get 3-star Katarina. And so we get the 3-star Cat. That's a huge, huge increase in damage for our team comp. Even though Cat's items are pretty scuffed here, still going from 2-star up to 3-star is just massive. She gets a lot more base stats. She gets more health. Her damage goes up enormously from her abilities. I believe that the damage on her ability goes from 250 up to 450 on her primary ability. And of course, she's critting, so she does more than that. So when we last hit that team comp that had the Abomination, we didn't have enough damage to kill the units. But with 3-star Cat, we suddenly do have enough damage. Katarina, I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, her Dagger Toss goes from 250 damage to 450 damage, so it almost doubles. A little bit short of doubling on the damage, but as you can imagine, it makes a huge difference here. And now I want to go ahead and get the Ivern in as well. so that I can get 3 Revenants in play. Also, Ivern will provide a little bit more frontline, which is, again, the biggest thing I'm lacking in this team composition is not having more frontline. I'm trying to look at which team comps I haven't hit recently and trying to position accordingly. And I decided that it made more sense to put Diana on the left because more people were running their carries on the left-hand side than on the right-hand side. So I'm still hoping that I can hit the Nocturne. I'm going to hold here at level 7 until I can hit the 3-star Nocturne because I have an 8 Nocturnes. If I had like 6 Nocturnes, I would probably just go to level 8 here, but I don't, so well, that'll work for right now. This is another Assassin team comp. This person has managed to find a... Oh, this is the person who was at level 5 forever. They actually managed to find a Force of Nature, so they're able to get some more units in play. But again, I just feel like that team comp is not terribly strong, but it looks like they might get a top 4 finish just off of having enough banked health here. But doesn't feel like that setup is all that good, honestly, at this stage of the game. Alrighty, so now we get another minion, and hey, it's a triple completed item minion round. Unfortunately, none of these items are that great for me. There's one that's useful here, and that's the Rageblade. Rageblade is pretty good on Nocturne. I wouldn't say it's best in slot, but it's certainly not bad on him. The other item's considerably less good. I don't really have anyone to use Spear of Shojin. Like, no one in this comp really wants that. Rapid Fire Cannon, nobody really wants that item in this particular team comp. So I wouldn't say these are great items. I would have loved tank items. I would have loved a crit-based item, even if it was something that was not ideal. But like another Hand of Justice, like a Hand of Justice would have been great. Just something crit-based for Katarina would have been nice. But anyway, now I'm just rolling. I'm pretty much just rolling for Nocturne 3-star at this point, and I want to make sure I don't miss units, but I also want to make sure I go reasonably fast here. So I'm like, come on, Nocturne, come on. I know you're in here somewhere. By the way, I still haven't 2-starred LeBlanc, which is kind of crazy. And it's like, come on, I'm having to spend a lot of money. Ah, there we go. And now I just want to get up to level 8, so I'm going to level, and I was like, oh, whoops, I'm 4 gold short. Okay. Well, we'll just have to wait until the next round to go to level 8 and get the extra Revenants in play. So the Rageblade goes on Nocturne. Spear of Shojin, I was like, Diana, so she casts more often. It's actually really important whether or not she casts in these fights. So just put that on her so that she casts more often. 3-star Nocturne is a big increase for him as well. And once we get the Ivern in play, he'll have 3 Revenant. So the difference between 2 Revenant and 3 Revenant is 2 Revenant, the Revenant units, when they die, they come back to life with 20% health. 3 Revenant, they come back with 40% health. So it's a lot more. They come back at like half health instead of 10% health. So we'll toss in Ivern, like I said, a little bit more frontline, and this feels pretty good. This is kind of how this comp wants to be set up. 3 Coven, 3 Revenant, 4 Assassin, 4 Renewer, 2 Nightbringer, with Katarina as the featured unit in here. Now, note that Viego pops up in the shop, and so this is another way you can build the comp. You can also run a 6 Assassin and pick up Forgotten. The way that I would do this is I would drop the Revenant, I would drop the Ivern, drop the Volibear, and play Viego, and then play either another Forgotten unit for Forgotten, or alternately play another Assassin for 6 Assassins. Like, that's certainly another way to run the comp, but with me having 3-star Nocturne, and with me having all these Volibears, I 100% want to run Revenant here. It's definitely better given the setup that I have. We are up against someone who's playing Brand Cavalier reroll, so they have a 3-star Brand, and they have a 3-star Hecarim, and this is a bad matchup for me because it's really hard for me to kill the Hecarim. Like, this is just not a team comp that I really want to be seeing. The good news is we do have that healing debuff on Katarina for the Hecarim, and in overtime, where healing is reduced, we are able to get that kill. But like I said, that's not really the team comp I want to be seeing overall. Now, it's a little bit unfortunate that when I had my bench completely full of units, I sold the Diana instead of souling the Ivern, because I could have had 2-star Diana, and like I would have hit 2-star Ivern anyway. Having a 2-star Diana is much more important than having a 2-star Ivern, so I should have sold the Ivern on the bench when I had a full bench, not the Diana. But oh well, as I said, haven't played a ton of these assassin comps. And now I was like, oh no, I need Cat to be the Coven leader. Woo! So again, that's why the last second positioning is a little tricky here when you're in this Coven comp. I was a little worried about this comp because of the Kale, but the good news is this is not a Kale stall comp. This is a Legionnaire Kale comp, and boop! Did you see that? Cat tossed a dagger, and Kale dies instantly. I was very lucky that Kale did not have like a Guardian Angel or something like that, because Kale is very fragile, and she needs protection. And my comp probably would not... I don't think my comp would be able to deal with a proper Kale stall comp. All right, here I was hoping for another item to put on Katarina. Again, I still have that open item slot on the Katarina, and unfortunately, there's not really much of anything I want here. I held off on committing the rapid fire cannon because I was like, I can put RFC on Kat. It's not good, but I can put it on her. And at this point, I was like, I'll just take the Warmogs, I guess, on and slap that on Volibear. One thing to remember about the what is it? The Revenant trait. And as we see double Heimers in the store. Revenant trait revives at a percentage of max HP. So if I get 2-star Volibear, which is kind of bizarre, I have 2-star Volibear. If I put double Warmogs on him, and he's got the Revenant trait in play, he's going to come back with a ton of health. So he has good odds to ult, not just once, but actually twice in these fights. He has like 4,000 health right now. So that's why I'm setting up the way I am right now. All right, so we're up against the same comp that we just hit. This is the Brand Cavalier reroll comp, but the difference is this time they've managed to hit Victor 3-star, and that is a bit of a problem because those Victor shields are going to be significant. Also, the Katarina gets popped by Vel'Koz. That is not what we want to see because once Cat dies, my damage goes away. I mean, I do have Nocturne who is doing some damage, but yep, if Cat dies, that's not going to go well, and so I take a huge loss. And we're down to just the two of us in the lobby. So that fight did not go the way I wanted. My assassins were not pointed at the carries on the other team. Here, by the way, I was going to lock, but then I was like, wait a minute. We have 4 health and 7 health. It's just me and this other player I just lost to in the lobby. So I need to get my assassins on the carries. Again, positioning super duper important. I need to kill those carries. I need to have like Diana hitting the Vel'Koz. I need to have the... I need to have my Katarina hitting them. I need to have Nocturne hitting them. So I'm going to reposition here so that I'm pointed at the carries on this team comp. I've got my Shroud in a much better position. And let's see how things go when you have better positioning on the assassin. So Shroud goes off. Nocturne is right in the back lanes. He instantly kills the Brand. So Brand is not going to do anything. The Vel'Koz goes off, but then we kill the Vel'Koz and the Nocturne revives. Cat is still alive. She's still dancing around. So all that's left now is the Hecarim. And I think that we can kill this Hecarim. I mean, he's healing for a lot, but come on. There we go. So again, positioning, really important in Assassin team comps. You see the difference in positioning is the difference between me getting creamed and then this person getting smashed. And that's going to be it. It's going to be a first place finish. And there you go. So I'm especially happy I got the first place finish here because I really felt like I was getting trolled by items, literally 0 swords the entire game in a comp that really wants Infinity Edge and really wants Guardian Angel. So, you know, you make the best you can with the items, and fortunately it worked out in this game. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this game. I don't play Assassins a ton, so it was a great chance to experiment with them and get to show some different gameplay. Anyway, hope your week is going well. Until next time, have a good one, take care, and I'll see you guys again soon.